welcome to this week's Monday Minutes. My name is Kelly.
And my name is Jessie, and this week we have an amazing guest with us, Christofer Zorn from Ajax Public Library. Hi, Christofer.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Perfect.
Christofer is joining us today to talk about how he used Koha to leverage their summer reading program at the library. Everything from statistics to how they tracked patrons within the system, and just how Koha was able to really help them navigate through summer reading. So we're going to pass the mic to you, Christofer, to talk a little bit more about how you rolled the program out.
Perfect, thank you. Koha was absolutely instrumental in us getting this done. We leveraged almost every facet of it to make this work. Just for a little bit of history, we've been running our summer reading club for eons, and we used to track our information through an internal database. So kids would walk up to our volunteer at the front, they would say, I'm 5, I go to this school, and they would check boxes, they were registered.
Okay.
And the kids would immediately start registering for the incentives. And the incentives for us, at least, were always, if you read for an hour, you got a sticker or a pencil or you got to pick something. Well, the numbers were good, but they were never actually completely accurate because we knew kids were registering at branch A and then driving to branch B and registering there as well and getting this, reaping the same incentives. And some of the incentives as we got higher were pretty good. So the numbers were always great, and we were gloriously happy to report those to the governments that wanted them, and off we went. Pre-COVID, actually the last year before COVID happened, we were really looking to tie summer reading club participation to our active users stats, to our circulation stats, because there's never actually been a nice tight handshake there. And that always kind of bothered me. So COVID hit, we couldn't do it. We ended up using an online version for book points, which was fantastic. And the support was great there as well. And it served our need online. But when we returned to in-person, we really wanted to kind of resuscitate some of our numbers that had slipped a little bit during COVID. And this was the perfect plan to do it. So the idea was when someone registered for Summer Reading Club, they would have to register with a library card. Wasn't the optimal solution, but that was what we wanted. We wanted to drive those active user numbers. We had a scenario too, where if you didn't want to register your child for a card, you could register as a group. So we keep track of how many people were registered in that group, and that helped leverage some of our numbers as well. That was all done through a feature called Clubs that we had never used in Koha before. It was fabulous. The club registered right on the checkout screen for the person. We could track information that we needed as well, that our ministry wanted, which was what school the kids came from, what grade they were in, just general information like that.
Christofer, did you allow them to sign up for the club on the OPAC as well, or just through the staff client?
We are on Aspen, and Aspen at this point didn't allow club registration. I'm going to kind of push Mark for next year to get that to happen, because I think that would be, our numbers would skyrocket higher than what we had.
Yeah.
But kind of encouraging people to get their library card helped our numbers tremendously. Circulation was paramount in this as well. We tied, so every item you checked out got you a ballot in this week's draw. Every time and I can show some of these incentives that we had later, but anytime you biked to the library, anytime you registered a parent, anytime you did any of these things, there was a garden center type of Rolodex at each staff member had. So when you biked, they checked out a biking to the library thing for you, and that counted as another ballot.
I just love that. I just love that idea. I just think that's so great.
You know what, Donna was actually instrumental in helping me walk through this too, because I called her at least once being like, tell me what I'm missing, because this just kind of makes sense. And she straightened out some of the parts, and it was fantastic. So collections was a big piece of this too, because we had a new item type created for programming, which we've actually used since when we did our book sale. So if you checked out something from the book sale, they gave you a checkout there as well. None of it counts towards our circulation information, but it's used. And then the final piece we used, that at least that I can remember off the top of my head now, is reporting. Reporting was paramount in saying, these are the kids that registered this week. So every Monday or Tuesday morning, I would get an email from a colleague saying, I need a winner. And I'm like, pick a number. And they would pick like 652. And I picked that person out of the spreadsheet, and that was the winner for this week.
Awesome.
So our stats, if I'm allowed, I'll share my screen and show you the stats we did.
Perfect.
We saw, by doing it this way, we ended up seeing a 42.5% increase in our children cards alone. We started the summer with about 2,700. We ended with 3,900.
Wow.
Our active users skyrocketed. I believe over each week, we did not see a decrease. We're up sometimes up to 2%, but we were up for almost 13.5% for the summer in active users. We saw an increase in adults. Oddly, though, it wasn't inactive patrons we saw coming back. Like, we didn't see that number, which was kind of strange, but I was happy to brag to everybody that we had seen good numbers like that. Solid registration across the summer through this system. The staff were tremendously engaged, and as much as this idea was great, it was the staff that actually executed it. I'm sure they were sick by the end of going home, by the end of their shift, where they were talking about, do you want to register for some reading club? It's great. So without them, we couldn't have done this. We track information by grade because of the clubs module that we were able to track that. As I said, circulation showed us based specifically on, I believe we tracked only junior items. And that was our circulation and renewal information across our 3 branches. It was, again, it helped us recover tremendously from the pre-pandemic and the current pandemic stats we had. But I think the biggest piece for us here was the tracking of incentive values. So as I said, for the Rolodex idea, we created barcodes through an online resource with matching items in the system. So if somebody biked to there, they got a scan. If somebody did the book bike, which is it's a mobile, essentially shelf on a bike that they took to anywhere across the town. The town was doing a program. We had rib fests and stuff like that we went to. The kids, when they read for an hour or 20, it actually was funny when we only started with reading for 20 minutes because that was the segment we needed. And within, I think, the 2 days of starting, the staff were emailing me complaining, saying 20 minutes is not enough. We've got kids coming in and we have to scan it 7-8 times. So we had to go to 1 hour and 2 hours as well. But it was phenomenal. I think we leveraged Koha. And the last piece, we ended up doing the self-check because a lot of our programs are run by volunteers or at least coordinated with volunteers. So we allowed those volunteers through some magical CSS that I'm sure Lucas can help with as well. We took away some of the bits that the volunteers couldn't see. So essentially they scanned your library card, they scanned that same Rolodex of information, it checked that out to you, and they were off. So they saw nothing of the patron's information. And that was instrumental as well to make sure that we had security for our patron information. But yeah, our stats recovered beautifully over the summer. They were all leveraged wonderfully. Koha was fantastic. And again, Bywater was fantastic in helping us walk through that.
Well, this is really great, Christofer. I'm like mind blown, how our other libraries that are using Koha and want to track summer readings through the Patrons Club feature in Koha can do this. So Kelly and I will work with Christofer to kind of put together a blog post that outlines some of the steps that you've taken. Christofer, I'm sure you don't mind reaching out to. He's on Slack,
nope, absolutely.
The Partners channel, if you want to jump in and ask him questions. But gosh, we appreciate you doing this so much, Christofer. Right, Kelly? This is great.
This is fantastic. And I think if anyone's really interested in like jet setting on this summer club, you have a few months now. This is early enough to start the ball rolling and get those ideas percolating at your library. So thank you so much, Christofer.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't mind sharing anything we did. Like I'm sure there are better ways we can do it next year and we'll try to refine it again, but
hey,
made us look like superstars.
That's the beauty of community. Let's see what other ideas people have out there.
100%.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, have a great week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.